Cognizant to the needs of our learners, parents, and teachers, the Department of Education provided us with powerful tools for productivity that will allow us to foster critical thinking skills, problem-solving skills, communication and collaboration skills to be compassionate, responsible global citizens. Join us and discover new ideas in our series of professional development training program with the ICT's Edtech Unit and Microsoft Education Philippines. Together, we will equip our learners and empower our fellow educators for a dynamic future. Para sa bata, para sa bayan, at para sa guro. Sulong Edukalidad.
Magandang araw, Sir Wilbur po, at your service. Narito ang ETUlay upang gabayan ka sa inyong pag-aaral upang lubos na maunawaan ang iba't ibang paksa o subject. Ang ETUlay ay isang free online tutorial class na pinangungunahan ng ICT's Educational Technology Unit sa pamumuno ni Undersecretary Elaine Del P. Pascua. Ang programang ito ay hindi lamang para sa mga bata, kundi ito rin ay magsisilbing gabay sa mga magulang at mga guro kung paano nila ituturo o gagabayan sa bawat asignatura ang kanilang mga anak o mga estudyante. Sa kasalukuyan, ang self-learning module mula sa rehiyon ng Calabarzon at kilala sa tawag na pivot ang ginagamit sa ating ETUlay online class. Kaya ano pang hinihintay ninyo? Ihanda na ang inyong mga ballpen o lapis, papel o kwaderno at samahan kaming itulay ang pagkatuto para sa bawat batang Pilipino. Sama-sama tayong magtutulungan para malampasan ang mga hamon sa panahong ito. Halina't matuto kasama ang inyong online tutor sa oras na ito.
Ayan. Welcome po sa ating ika-6 linggo para sa ETUlay. So, ako po ang inyong makakasama para sa hapon na ito. Ako po si Tutor Janet para sa Math 9. So, binabati ko po ang ating early online participant, si Kathleen Marie Apalia Bukat. So, good afternoon, anak. Welcome sa ETUlay. So para sa linggong ito, ang topic natin ay may kaugnayan pa rin sa triangles. So hindi pa rin tayo lumalayo sa mga napag-usapan natin ngayong fourth quarter. Okay, so ang title ng ating lesson ay Law of Sines. Yan, so ano nga ba yung objectives natin para sa mga session na ito? So for this session, you'll be able to find the measure of a part of a triangle using the law of sines. And later on, we will be solving an oblique triangle cases where two angles and one of the sides are given. So we will be dealing with given two angles and one side. And later on, kung may time pa, pwede rin tayong mag-discuss ng SAS, or meaning two sides and the included angle, or SSA. Alam ko po sa geometry, wala tayong SSA. Pero sa trigonometry, para sa lesson natin ngayon, meron tayong SSA. Okay? So, atin na pong simulan ang ating session. Okay, so pasensya na po, maingay po yung aking aso. So for our review, balikan lang natin, nabanggit ko po yung geometry kanina, di ba? So when we are dealing with triangles, one of the important topics na dinidiscuss natin for geometry is the inequality of triangles theorem. So isa po sa mga kailangan nating matutunan is how to identify kung ang isang given set of sides can be the side of the three sides of the triangle. So we have here our example. So we have 12, 24, and 36. So kung meron kaya tayong given at tatlong sides na to, 12, 24, and 36, can we form a triangle? Okay, so babalikan natin yung konsepto. Alam ko po, medyo malayong agwat ng geometry nyo ng grade 8 at saka yung pagre-review natin ngayon. So in our case, kung papansinin po natin, we have the long, kumbaga kung side siya, longer side yung 24, 36 is the longest side. So ang ating rule, dapat, kung meron tayong longest side, like in this case, yung value niya cannot be less than, or rather, cannot be greater than the sum of the other two shorter sides. So in this case po, we have 12 and 24. But 12 plus 24 is not greater than 36. In fact, 12 plus 24 is equal to 36. So ang ating title kasi 'di ba, inequality. So hindi pasok yung equal sign. So therefore, kaya po may X dyan, ibig sabihin, we cannot form a triangle in this case. Okay, how about, meron po tayong 18, 24, and 32. Okay. 24 and 32. Nakita niyo po sa screen. Okay. So habang medyo may lag po tayo, binabati po yung isa pa nating participant from Congressman Manuel Garcia Elementary School. Okay. So meron tayong nanonood from elementary school. Regards sa iyo dyan, Roxanne. So welcome sa ETUlay. So I hope naaalala mo yung triangle. So ang pinag-uusapan kasi natin yun ay triangle. Okay? So sa ating pangalawang triangle, we are given 18, 24, and 32. So can this be a possible side lengths of a triangle? Okay, so tingnan natin. So unlike nung una nating example, we know na pag in-add natin yung 18 and 24, it's not going to be exactly the longest side, which is 32. So in this case, pwede nating sabihin na ma-justify natin yung unang condition. Okay, which is yung pattern po dito, kung nakita niyo sa example, number 1, 18 plus 24. Okay, ang 18 plus 24 ay mas malaki sa 32. Okay, so hindi lang po kasi yung example na kailangan natin i-consider, or combination rather, na kailangan nating i-consider. So we have to also add 18 and 32. And the sum should be also greater than ang natitirang yung longer side na 24. Okay, which is the case also. So kung papakita natin yung lahat ng conditions na kailangan, mamimit po niya. Okay, so ayan siya. Makikita natin na even for the last two, 24 plus 32, and that is 56, or ayun pala, 56, is greater than, i-compare natin siya sa 18. Okay, I have to edit that slide. Okay, so check po siya. Tama po yun. Kasi ang i-compare natin ay yung 18, which is the shortest side nga po. Okay. So therefore, yan, na-justify natin na yung tatlong inequality na kinakailangan natin ay na-check na. So, ibig sabihin, unlike letter A, our triangle here, we can have a triangle here which sides are 18, 24, and 32. Okay. So, ang ating lesson ay babalikan natin ang isa pang klase ng triangles, which is an oblique triangle. So, we will be solving oblique triangles. So how will we know we solve for missing sides and angles in a triangle. So ano nga bang types of triangles na ang napag-usapan natin so far? So if you can recall, ang pinag-uusapan natin sa mga nakaraan ay right triangles. Kaya nga specifically, tinatawag natin yon na right triangle trigonometry. Okay, so in other words, dadagdag sa ating competencies ngayon is we should be able to solve oblique triangles. Okay. So ano nga bang ibig sabihin pag sinasolve na natin yung isang triangle? Balikan natin. Di ba? Pag sa right triangle, masosolve natin siya kung nakukuha natin yung tatlong unknown sides, o kung minsan ang given ay isang side lang and you're looking for the other two sides. At dapat din, alam natin yung measure ng tatlong interior angles. Okay. So, in other words, solving a triangle means finding the missing sides. Or kung isa lang, missing side and angles. Okay. So, ganun din po ang case ng ating oblique triangles. Okay. So, ano ba ang gagamitin natin for today? So, we have here the law of sines. Okay. For law of sines, we will be following this ratio. So, makita nyo po yung tatlong ratio natin. So, therefore, it is a proportion, di ba po? So, in any triangle, ABC, na nakita nyo po sa inyong screen, so we're given here sine A over side A. Okay. So, the ratio is kaya nga po law of sines siya, so ang lahat ng ating involved sa numerator ay ang trigonometric function na sine. So sine A over side A is equal to yung ratio naman ng sine B over B, and it's also equal to the ratio of sine C over side C. Okay, so let me repeat that kasi baka na-confuse kayo kasi medyo mahaba yung binasa ko. So, according to the law of sines, if we're given any triangle ABC, we have the proportion sine A, okay, ito po yung angle A natin, over side A is equal to sine B over side B, and these are also both equal to sine C over C. So let us have an example, or banggitin ko uli kailan natin ginagamit yung law of sines. Pahapyaw ko lang siyang nabanggit kanina. Okay, so habang binabasa natin yan, so let's have some greetings here from Jermaine Garcia. Good afternoon. And good afternoon din kay Claren from Doña Magdalena H. Gafford High School. Okay. Yan. So ano nga ba yung mga kailangan natin given para masabi natin gagamitin natin yung law of sines? Okay, if you know the measures of two angles and any side opposite one of the angle. So meaning, mas appropriate na tatawagin natin siyang AAS or AAS. So yung case na meron kang dalawang angles at isang non-included side in this case. Pwede rin siya when the measure of the two sides and the angle opposite one of them are given. Okay, so ano-ano yun is stipulate na natin dito sa next slide with the example. Okay, in other words, if you are given, sabi ko nga yung AAS. So ayan, halimbawa dito po. So B and C, angles B and C rather, are given. So given din yung non-included side or opposite side ng isa sa kanila na 14. So this is a case called AAS. Ganon din po sa next triangle sa tabi niya. So if this is an obtuse triangle again, triangle ABC. So if we have 113 degrees as the measure of angle B, okay, and then 30 degrees as the measure of angle A, and the side opposite one of this, yung 7 meters, okay, for the measure of side A. So yun ang ibig sabihin natin na kailangan natin gamitin yung AAS. So pwede rin ang ang law of sines sa ganitong mga case. So or if you're given SAS at saka yung SSA. So hiniwalay ko yung mga figures for SSA kasi medyo mahaba yung discussion natin for it. So remember, ito lang yung mga cases na pinaka-practical gamitin ang law of sines. Ayan. Okay? So let us have our first example as I promised. So mag-uumpisa ako doon sa case na dalawang angle at saka isang side ang given. So paano natin magagamit ang law of sines para ma-solve yung isang unknown side. Okay, na-specify dito. Okay. We have this figure. So according to the figure, to be consistent po, mapapansin nyo, ginamit ko angles ABC pa rin ang given. And then opposite angle A is side A, which is 350 centimeter. And we also have one of the given, the measure of angle B is 38 degrees at ang unknown ay minark ko as B. Okay, so we will be letting B be the variable for the length of side AC. So our unknown muna in this case is side B. Okay, so how are we going to use the law of sines? Ito po ang ating solution. Okay, so recall natin yung formula natin in the previous slides, one of the previous slides. Yan. So sabi, di ba? Sin A over A is equal to sin B over B is equal to sin C over C. So we can also say, kahit hindi diretso magkatabi yung ratio na sin A over A and sin C over C, pwede rin nating sabihin na sin A over A is equal to sin C over C. Okay? So yun po yung ibig sabihin ng law of sines. Hindi kailangang ma-prove muna na sin A over A is equal to sin B over B bago ka mag-proceed dun sa pangatlo. So it can be transitive. Okay, let's go to our example again. Ayan. So ang ating pong kailangang hanapin ay side B. And we are given the complete set na yung ini-involve ay yung letter A. So meaning, we will be using yung first two ratios. Okay, which is sin A over A is equal to sin B over B. So after being able to identify na ganun nga po yung kailangan nating proportion, we will be plugging in the values. Okay, so ang ating given, remember, A and B here respectively are 59 degrees and 38 degrees. So ibig sabihin dito sa ating unang ratio, ang ating value ng angle ay 59, while dito naman ay 38. So very important yung placement, no? Kailangan hindi tayo magkakabaliktad. So accurate dapat yung pagkaka-substitute natin ng ating mga given. So ang meron lang tayong value, remember, ay value ng angle A, okay, the measure of angle B, and the length of side CB or yung side A nga po. Okay, so let's plug that in. That's why we have sin. Okay, pakita ko na po. So, sin 38 ang ating sin B. So, sin 38 degrees. Then, we plug in for sin A. Sin 59 degrees. Okay, and then, kasi sa pag-cross multiply natin, so ito yung magiging equation po. So, B is equal to A times sin B over sin A. So, kaya may multiplier tayong A dito. So, 350 or 350 is the length of side A, which is the side, as what I said, in-emphasize ko kanina yan, opposite ng angle A. So, 350 times sine 38 divided by sine 59. Okay, so we'll be using our calculator to evaluate that. So ayan ang ating kailangan evaluate. So together, we'll be doing that 350 times sine 38. Okay, so since puro multiplication naman siya, it's okay to pwedeng maunang 350 divided by sine 59 times sine 38. So that wouldn't change the answer. Okay, so but to be safe, I advise na kung halimbawa lalo na kung hindi naka-direct algorithm yung calculator nyo, so just like what I did, i-press nyo muna yung equal sign sa calculator and then divided by the denominator, sine 59. Okay, so therefore, we were able to get the answer 251.39. So since ang ating given naman ay whole number, so it's safe to say na kung kailangan lang natin ng rounded off to nearest units, which is 251. So therefore, our answer is 251. Okay, let us have yung sinasabi ko kanina na SSA case. Okay. So kailan ba natin magiging concern na magkakaroon tayo ng two cases sa oblique triangle? So in our given triangle, ang provided ay A is obtuse. Okay, so we have angle A as drawn is obtuse. Then we are given that two sides, okay, na hindi nga nila included angle yung A. So yan po yung tinutukoy natin na SSA. Okay, so ano ba yung ambiguous case for SSA? So yun yung pwedeng one illustration, okay? When we are given the case, the two sides and a non-included angle are provided. Okay. So ito po yung mas klarong illustration. So in this slide particularly, this is the case na pwede tayong magkaroon ng two solutions. So do you remember the hinge theorem? So di ba sabi natin, pwede natin tayong magkaroon ng case na parehas yung dalawang sides, pero pag magkaiba yung kanilang opposite, or rather yung kanilang included angle. So just like here, habang lumalaki yung angle, nagbabago-bago yung third side. So this is the meaning of the ambiguous case. Pwede tayong magkaroon ng yung ganitong triangle, kagaya nung nasa previous illustration, or pwede rin tayo kasi makakadraw ng ganito ring triangle. So this is the case. Paano natin malalaman na meron tayong ambiguous case? When our, okay, so let me just base it here. Ayan. So kapag ang ating A is less than B, and yet A is greater than the H. So pwede kasi tayo magkaroon tayo ng H dito, yung B sine A. So that is the case that we are going to have the ambiguous case. Okay. So like what we have illustrated here. Meron pa tayong isang case for SSA. So another case will be when there is no triangle form. Okay. Paano natin malalaman na meron lamang tayong ganito? Kapag the angle is obtuse or right, okay? So although sa figure natin, obtuse yung ginamit ko, no? So, from the illustration. Pero pwede rin po yung case na right. So that is when A is less than or equal to B. Okay, so hindi kasi makaka-form ng triangle. So, di ba importante nga na kung obtuse yung angle A, so therefore, the longest side, kasi nga, isa lang naman yung obtuse natin na pwedeng mag-exist. So the longest side must be the side opposite it. Okay, so therefore, wala tayong ma-form na triangle kapag A is less than B or A is equal to B. So let us have our first activity now. So we're given the direction, find the missing angles and sides. Yeah. So our given is angle A is equal to 36 degrees, side A is equal to 8, and side B is equal to 5. So anong case siya? Meron tayong dalawang sides at isang angle. So this is, okay, as illustrated, SSA. Pero wala tayong problema. Why is that? Kasi hindi naman siya obtuse. So kagaya na yung sinabi ko before, magiging concern tayo more sa ating magiging two cases kung meron tayong obtuse triangle. Okay. So the first thing that we can do is to find first the measure of angle C. So using the idea or a property for triangles that the sum of all the interior angles of a triangle is 180, we can solve for C. So plugging in measure of angle A plus measure of angle B plus measure of angle C is equal to 180, we were able to solve that angle C is equal to 122.5 degrees. So, ano yung susunod natin gagawin? We need to find the remaining side, which is side C. Okay, so, pero ano ba yung magiging concern natin dito? Although sinolve natin yung angle C, kailangan natin gamitin yung given natin talaga. So, therefore, we will be using again the proportion sine A over A is equal to sine B over B. Okay, bakit tutor? Bakit kailangan nyo nang gagamitin natin? Kasi ang ating complete set ay nag-i-involve sa A. And we are looking for side C. Okay, so rather side C pa rin kailangan natin. So kailangan nating involve yung sine A over A is equal to sine C over C. Yun nga pala yung logic nun. Siyempre, kailangan natin isolve yung angle C kasi hinahanap natin yung side C. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. So according to what we have here, we were able to plug in already. So ang ating ginamit nga lang po ay A over sine A is equal to C over, ano ba yung ginamit? Bakit may A? Sine 36, tama. So, baliktad lang. Nauna lang yung unknown. Okay? So, we have C over sine C is equal to A over sine A. Okay, so we're able to plug it in. And kagaya ng ginawa natin sa ating unang example, since we are looking for C, so we will just cross-multiply our proportion. So the product of the means is equal to the product of the extremes. And then isolating C, i-divide natin yung product na to, yung 8 and sine 122.5 degrees, which is the measure of angle C, by sine 36 degrees. And therefore, okay, so i-check natin sa ating calculator kung tama. Okay, so 8 times sine 122.5, press natin uling equals, divided by sine 36. And our answer is, okay, kung pare-parehas po tayo ng mga ginawa, ayan. So rounded off, in this case, to nearest hundreds, the answer is 11.48 units. So that is why na-complete na natin siya. So meron na tayong measure ng angle A, measure ng angle B, angle C, and all the sides are already identified. So A is equal to 8, B is equal to 5, and C is equal to approximately 11. So one of the previous problems na binigay ko po nung nagdi-discuss tayo ng right triangle is this involving this triangle. So although, sabi ko nga nung nakaraang session natin, pwede siyang ma-solve using right triangle trigonometry. But the solution, as I browse through it, pinakita ko po yun, hindi siya ganun kabilis makukuha. Pero if we're given the same triangle, okay, so ito uli yung given natin. So we are provided with two angles and non-included side. So anong case po yung tawag natin dyan? Okay, so tayo natin yung mga sagot ng mga online participants natin. Okay. So if we're given 80 degrees, let's say, is angle A, okay, and angle C is 40 degrees. Okay. Ito yung ating length ng side A. Side A is 100 feet. We are looking for side C. So anong case ang ating pagbabasihan? Ito ba ay SAS, AAS, or SAS? Okay. Hello po. Opo. Sa school po mismo, sir. Sige lang po, teka lang po, nagbo-broadcast po ako. Pakihanap na lang po si Marisa Brasa. Okay, sorry for that. I just really need to take that call. Pasensya na po. Anything goes pag live. Ayan. So, let me repeat. So, anong case ba yung ating given? We're provided here, sabi ko, this is angle A is 80 degrees. So, the measure of angle C is 40 degrees. Baliktad. Kasi ito yung A natin kanina, di ba? So, side C is 80 degrees. Angle A is 80 degrees. Angle C is 40 degrees. And we have the opposite side as 100 feet. We are looking for this side, which is opposite 80. So, anong ating case? We are provided two angles and a non-included side. So, ang tawag po natin dito ay AAS. So, therefore, alam agad natin na law of sines nga. So, pasok siya dun sa mga cases na pwede mong gamitan ng law of sines. Okay, so how will our solution look like? So, ito po ang ating unang gagawin. So, isa-set up natin, since we're looking for x, so we have, okay, skip ko lang po ito. That is for solving for y. Next slide. Ito yan. Ito po yung sinasabi ko na ni-involve natin yung kumpleto. Okay, so ang kumpleto kasi ay yung A. So sin A over A is equal to sin C over C. Yeah. So what is the next thing that to do? We are going to plug in the values. Okay, so ayan po. Kaya meron tayong sin 40 degrees over the opposite 100, yung A natin, is equal to sin 80 over x. Okay, kasi ang opposite ng 80 degrees, yun yung unknown. And then, we follow again our procedure. Paano ba tayo magsusolve? Okay, so we will be applying the law of proportion. So we will multiply sine 80 degrees by 100 and then divide by sine 40 degrees. So x is equal to, therefore, okay, pag dinivide na natin yung product ng 100 and sine 80 by sine 40, okay, ano yung magiging final answer? Okay, so meron ditong 153.2088888. But since we are approximating lang, no? So kaya meron tayong rounded off to the nearest feet. So x is approximately 153 feet. Okay. So dito naman sa next na na-preempt ko lang, I'm sorry, na-preempt na siya, no? Kung kailangan din natin yung isa pang unknown, which is the side opposite this angle, okay, which is angle B. So remember, ang tawag natin dito kanina ay angle A, angle A, angle C. So this will be therefore be called yung ating unknown kanina as angle B. So ano yung nakita natin dito sa bandang right? So we are following the proportion. Ito pa rin, sine A over A. But this time, it's equal to sine B over B. Okay. And then, just like what we did in the process of solving for x, so as we solve for x, kinross multiply din natin itong dalawa. So we have y times sine 40 degrees is equal to 100 times sine 60 degrees. Then dividing both sides by sine 40 degrees, we have 100 times sine 60 divided by sine 40. Okay, let me check if we will have the same answer nung ginamit natin yung right triangle trigonometry. Okay, so 100 times sine 60 equals 86.6 something divided by sine 40. Our answer is 134.7296 something. So kagaya ng ginawa natin sa x, kailangan lang natin na i-round off to the nearest feet. So our final answer is y is approximately 135 feet. So yan po yung complete na problem natin yan. Let me just... So ano ngayon ang magiging sagot dun sa problem? How long is the second line? So the second line, yun yung represented by x. So therefore, x is equal to 153. That was our answer earlier. While y, yung how far apart are the tethers, our final answer there would be 135, kasi niround off natin siya, 135 feet. So x is 150 feet, while y is, yung kanina, 135 feet. Okay? So, in the next session, pag-uusapan po natin yung isa pang law na magagamit natin to solve other cases pag oblique triangles po yung given. Of course, pwede natin gamitin yung law of sines and law of cosines. Yun po yung maging next topic natin. Kahit ang given ay right triangle. Sabi diba natin sa definition kanina ng law of sines, if we are given any triangle, then sine A over A is equal to sine B over B is equal to sine C over C. Pero, mas practical, syempre gamitin natin pag right triangles, yung mga trigonometric ratio na diniscuss natin before. Pero pag ang given natin ay oblique triangle, So we will be using law of sines and law of cosines. So sa ating mga susunod na session, pag-uusapan na natin yung law of cosines. And then if we will be given enough time, I'll be showing some problems wherein pwede natin gamitin yung law of sines combination. Tapos pwede rin after that, law of cosines. Okay? So with that, akin na po kayong iniimbitahan. So maraming salamat po sa inyong patuloy na pagsama. So meron na lamang po tayo natitirang 2 linggo para sa quarter. So maraming salamat po sa patuloy nyo pong pagsama sa ating online tutorial dito sa DepEd ETUlay. So stay tuned po kayo para sa Math 10 with Tutor Avil. At kung meron po kayong gustong balikan sa part ng discussion natin ngayon, so maari po kayong mag-subscribe, manood sa ating FB page ng DepEd Edtech Unit at manood din sa ating YouTube channel sa DepEd Online and DepEd TV. At patuloy, huwag niyo po kakalimutan na patuloy manood sa inyong telebisyon ng mga TV episodes ng DepEd TV. Yun lang po at maraming salamat. Thank you, sir.
Sigurado ako na marami ka na namang natutuhan sa ating ETUlay tutorial session ngayong araw. Tandaan, ito ay hindi lamang para sa ating mga mag-aaral, kundi pati rin sa ating mga minamahal na guro at mga magulang na kaagapay natin para maituloy ang pagkatuto sa kabila ng nararanasang pandemya. Patuloy ding sumubaybay sa DepEd TV para sa mga araling ginawang video episodes. Mapapanood ito mula Lunes hanggang Sabado, alas 7 ng umaga hanggang alas 7 ng gabi sa inyong mga telebisyon. Abangan sa Lunes mula 1:00 ng tanghali ang iba pang aralin sa ating ETUlay free online tutorial session sa Science. I-like and subscribe at manatiling nakasubaybay sa ating ETUlay tutorial session sa DepEd Edtech Unit FB page at Educational Technology Unit channel sa YouTube at sa DepEd Tayo at DepEd Philippines social media accounts. Paalam!